Montana, as a stunt plane performs its final stunt.
Riverside residents are making noise about buses rerouted in an uproar.
Paul Majors has a night off. News 11 is next.
It's hit. Chevy Mania at Twin Cities area Chevy team dealer. A saving storm of Chevy value. 1987 Chevy S10 Blazer 4x4, just $11,993. A 4x4 under $12,000. You get 43 features. Tinted glass, dual mirrors, power brakes, full instrumentation cluster. 87 Blazer 4x4, $11,993. Chevy Mania this week and only at your Twin Cities area Chevy team dealer. Now take advantage of just announced 1.9 APR or cash rebates.
If you got a problem, don't care what it is.
A homeowner wanted to cut his energy costs, so he had NSP make a house call. NSP's consultant was glad to help with ideas that trimmed energy costs more than 20%.
It would sure do me good to do you good. I can help.
To use energy smarter in your home, in your business, call your NSP energy consultant. We can help.
Burger King has the power, too, with 4 different He-Man meal packs, each with a special surprise, like a sword straw holder, He-Man flying shield, and 2 other Masters of the Universe prizes. You can collect all 4.
All the prizes will be mine!
Think again, Skeletor. He-Man meal packs now at Burger King.
Oh, boy, let's go!
Now, the Twin Cities' fastest growing television news. News 11. With Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Tom Reither on sports, and meteorologist Paul Douglas.
Good evening. Paul Majors has the night off. News 11 has received a letter from serial murder suspect Billy Glaze.
Glaze is considered a prime suspect in the brutal murders of 3 American Indian women.
Those murders of American Indian women still have the South Minneapolis Phillips neighborhood stunned. All the women were found in the city brutally murdered, and the killer left behind a trademark with each body. Police say Glaze, a drifter, was in Minneapolis when all 3 women were killed. Now Glaze is serving a 10-year prison sentence in Texas for a probation sentence, and he blames his stiff sentence on the Minneapolis police and the serial murder investigation. News 11's Bernie Grace has more in this copyrighted report.
In a letter written from his Texas jail cell, Billy Glaze writes, "I wish you could find out if they still think I did the killings. My life has been nothing but hell since I left Minnesota. I did not kill no one and never will. I'm not that kind of man." Earlier this summer, Glaze was sentenced to 10 years in prison for a probation violation stemming from a rape conviction. In his letter, Glaze says, "If it wasn't for the Minneapolis murder investigation, my lawyer said I would have gotten 5 years instead of 10 years. I did not kill those girls, but what I'm afraid of, them framing me, because they can't catch the right people." And he adds, "If I had money, I could hire me a lawyer, but I'm poor and don't have much of an education, so I can't do much." Glaze is hoping for an early release. In his letter, he writes, "These people here said you could probably help me get out of here sooner by writing the parole board in Austin, Texas. If you can help in any way, I sure would be thankful to you. I hope it's not asking too much. Even writing Judge Kincaid would probably help." It was Judge Kincaid who sentenced Glaze earlier this summer. Glaze, according to Minneapolis police officials, is one of a couple of suspects. 4 investigators are still working the case.
We're still following up on a number of good leads that we've had all along, just trying to track different people down to verify circumstances and keep building a case.
Despite what Minneapolis police officials say, sources close to the investigation say Glaze is the #1 suspect. And at some point, detectives say they plan to go to Texas to question him. But again, police have been unable to come up with sufficient evidence to bring any charges. In Minneapolis, Bernie Grace, News 11.
4 Minneapolis detectives remain on the serial murder investigation, and one detective told News 11 their investigation is progressing slowly. And the earliest Glaze could be released from jail is in 7 years.
Right now, Minneapolis police are looking for suspects in a murder that happened just about a half an hour ago. The body of a young man was discovered in an alley outside a store near 26th and Cedar Avenue South. Witnesses say the victim was shot as he was riding his motorcycle, and the shots were fired from a passing vehicle. St. Paul Marine Sergeant Clayton Lonetree freely confessed to passing secrets to the Soviet secret police. That, according to testimony today from a Navy official. Lonetree was led into closed-door court proceedings again today. He is accused of espionage. A Navy investigator told the court Lonetree made incriminating statements during questioning last December. Lonetree, if convicted, could be sentenced for life.
Charges may be filed against an Army man whose plane nearly collided with President Reagan's helicopter last night. Ralph Myers, an Army private who's been AWOL for weeks, was questioned last night by the Secret Service. His private plane was seized in California and his license was taken away. That's after the presidential helicopter had to suddenly fly over the small plane, flying in restricted airspace. The president did arrive safely and the Reagans were not aware of the situation. A Montana pilot is fighting for his life tonight after his antique stunt plane crashed. The pilot was doing stunts yesterday to practice for an air show in Bozeman, Montana. Something went wrong and the plane hit a building.
No! Get him out here quick.
Pilot Al Newby was pulled from the wreckage and was given mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. Tonight, he's in critical condition.
A would-be Northwest Airlines passenger says tonight that he's suing that airline over its policy on passengers with AIDS. The customer who tried to buy a ticket today says the airline discriminates against AIDS carriers, and he's outraged. Mary Stuckey reports.
Leonard Matlovich claims to have AIDS. This morning, Matlovich says he tried to buy a ticket from Northwest Airlines in San Francisco.
And in person, with my T-shirt on, it says I'm a person with AIDS. They said, we will not sell you a ticket because you have AIDS.
A Northwest Airlines spokesman says company policy was not to transport passengers known to have AIDS until this morning. Now the company says that policy has changed. They will transport an AIDS carrier if he has a letter from his doctor saying he's medically fit to travel and not a health risk to other customers on the airplane. But gay rights groups say that's still discrimination.
That it's really harassment to require a person with AIDS every time they want to take a flight to violate their confidentiality, to subject themselves to ostracism, and to have to go through the extra hassle of going down to their doctor and saying, please, doctor, can I take an airline flight?
Northwest says they're treating a customer with AIDS just like a customer with any contagious disease.
Northwest is not only behaving in a medically foolish fashion, they're also being legally ignorant as well, and I think they're shooting themselves in the foot.
Matlovich says he intends to sue Northwest for discrimination. Northwest says its AIDS policy is the most up-to-date in the nation. Mary Stuckey, News 11, Twin Cities International Airport.
And a Northwest spokesman told News 11 that the policy on AIDS was not changed in response to this incident.
Minneapolis crews were on the scene of a semi-rollover for about an hour tonight. It's believed the truck may have been carrying dangerous chemicals, and fire crews were called to stand by in case of an emergency. The truck tipped over at Highway 55 and Lindale Avenue North. No one was hurt.
A mechanical heart pump is keeping a 7-day-old baby alive tonight at the University of Minnesota. Amber Thamert is barely breathing. She was born premature, and her heart and lungs are still developing. The heart pump, made in Eden Prairie, is taking the load off the girl's heart until her organs are strong enough to support her. Amber is expected to pull through.
St. Paul's Samaritan Hospital is closed tonight. Patients were moved out and workers are out of a job. The employees got the word yesterday, and Kevin McDowell reports administrators are closing the facility because there's been too many empty beds.
Workers at Samaritan got word of the closing yesterday. The shock of the news that they'll be laid off is still being felt.
Well, you know, we're a small hospital and really kind of family-oriented, and I think everybody feels like they've lost part of their family.
Empty hallways forecast the future. 200 employees will be laid off, although some are being offered placement services and transfers. 25 patients remain in the hospital tonight. The hospital says most will have been discharged by the closing. Those few that remain will be transferred to other facilities. A relative of one of the patients was understanding when he heard the news.
I realize that you got a problem with hospitals in the area, trying to keep your costs in a reasonable range. Which is impossible. Almost.
For the neighbors around the hospital, the question tonight is, what happens to the building?
It kind of worries me as to what's going to happen with it, because they have always kept up the building and the grounds and everything. I don't want to see it, start looking shabby.
The future of this building is very much up in the air. The owners say eventually they'd like to sell it. What they'll do with it in the interim, they're not sure. Meanwhile, officials for the city of St. Paul say they'll be watching closely to make sure that the building doesn't become an eyesore. In St. Paul, Kevin McDowell, News 11.
There are plans to close more hospitals in St. Paul. Mounds Park Hospital is scheduled to close its inpatient service Monday and its outpatient service September 1st. And St. John's Eastside Hospital will close November 1st. Many St. Paul hospitals are now part of Health East Medical Group. Samaritan Hospital was part of Health East, and that led to its closing.
No more MTC buses are being allowed to cross the Lake Street Marshall Avenue Bridge. The last bus crossed the ailing turn-of-the-century structure last night. The bridge connecting St. Paul and South Minneapolis is due to be replaced, and the MTC buses are too heavy for the week span. Bus passengers are now being transferred to smaller shuttle vans for the trip across the bridge, and the big buses are now being turned around in nearby Riverside neighborhoods. Melissa Young reports tonight residents are outraged.
On the Minneapolis side of the bridge, MTC buses take only a 4-block detour through the neighborhood. But residents say even that is too much.
It's noisy. The fuel stinks. 106 a day, it seems like they're constant.
All around this southeastern Minneapolis neighborhood, there is anger over noise, traffic, and a loss of parking.
Without letting us have any say, asking anybody, it automatically just says your street's closed off, you can't park there, we're going to run a buses there.
We couldn't sell the house for what we paid for it. I mean, I'm sure it's depreciated now with the bus route, coming our way. And
I think it was poor planning, very poor planning, especially when they already have a natural a turnaround on 36.
Residents say this area is full of young families and young children. They worry about safety. In St. Paul, the detour affects more apartment buildings and single-family homes, but the residents here are still angry. MTC officials say they studied the matter carefully to try and come up with the best solution possible. They insist it's only temporary. But with no money available yet to redo the Lake Street Bridge, temporary could mean 4 years. Melissa Young, News 11.
And tomorrow, residents are planning to meet with the MTC to discuss those complaints.
There are few complaints about the new World Trade Center tonight. The retail development was packed tonight as shoppers in town court got a free comedy performance from David Brenner. The comic recounted one of his recent shopping experiences.
You ever wonder why when you go in a shopping cart in this day and age in this country and you get a shopping cart, the wheels always go sideways? Until you get outside, the minute you let go to open the trunk of the car,
Brenner's appearance was part of St. Paul Center's grand opening, which continues through this month.
I wish he'd been there last night when we were over.
Yeah, it would have been nice.
Still ahead tonight on News 11, mobs meet Madonna and a solemn celebration for Elvis.
Also tonight, floodwaters drenched Chicago in a storm of the century.
We'll take you inside a sports fan's version of heaven, full of memorabilia.
And Canterbury Downs takes out a full-page ad to apologize to Wisconsin. News 11 is coming right back.
I'm sure that you have heard about the legislation that authorizes the recapitalization of the FSLIC, the government agency that ensures your savings. In addition to insured safety, I'm happy to report that Midwest Federal is one of the strongest institutions in the nation, with a substantial net worth and nearly 100 years of service. So combined with the full faith and credit of the United States Congress and Midwest Federal, we look forward to a strong, good future for all of us together.
Premature birth. It can break your heart. That's why 2 years ago, Group Health started the first preterm birth program in Minnesota. And it works. Today, Group Health's premature birth rate is nearly 50% lower than the state average. Healthier babies, healthier mothers. Just what you'd expect from Group Health. Group Health, quality health care for life.
Saturday night at the drive-in, an American tradition, just like Pizza Hut pizza to go. Hey, I see you're having a pan pizza.
Yeah, Pizza Hut's our favorite, so we got it to go.
Good point. You know, it's my opinion that, hey, did I come at a bad time? What about you, kid? Oh, here's where he crushes the town. Oh, sorry. Sharing a pan pizza with my fellow film buffs, I'm Rich Hall. Look at the size of those toenails.
There's a clearance at your Chrysler Plymouth store.
TCMediaNow because we're dealing on everything in stock. Get financing as low as 1.9% or up to $750 cash back. Plus, get the 770 protection plan.
Everything goes! Everything goes!
Get the best year-end prices ever. Everything included. Everything goes.
Edgar Rosenberg, the husband of comedian Joan Rivers, is dead tonight. Rosenberg took his own life by taking an overdose of Valium at a hotel room in Philadelphia. Rosenberg had been very ill. He was 63. Joan Rivers had often joked about her husband on her late-night TV show on the Fox network. Rosenberg was his wife's manager, and tonight Rivers is in seclusion.
A sailor from the USS Stark is charged with murder, and that story tops Daylines tonight. In Jacksonville, Walter Taylor Jr., a Navy seaman, was charged with 2 counts of second-degree murder. Taylor is accused of bludgeoning to death a fellow seaman's wife and 4-year-old daughter. He's being held without bail tonight. In Brazil, rescue workers dug frantically through the debris of a 12-story building that collapsed last night. 10 people were found dead, and the search for dozens of others continued through the day. The foundations were declared unsafe last week, and officials say work was continuing illegally. And in Chicago, record rainfall. 10 inches of rain fell in this city, the storm of the century. Traffic on expressways were snarled today, and floodwaters sealed off O'Hare Airport, and some airline passengers had to get out of their cars and walk to the terminal.
Live storm coverage of last July's tornado has won News 11 a national award. Sky 11 brought back live pictures of a tornado that ripped through parts of Brooklyn Park and the Springbrook Nature Center, and the Associated Press has awarded News 11 with the best spot news coverage in the entire country for this effort.
Paul Douglas is off tonight. Dennis Falcon is here, and no tornadoes
No
in our
tornadoes,
area.
no, just a dank day with one of those days. I have interesting things dropped on my desk every day. Today, I had a uniform dropped on it, a paint hat.
Now, is this yours?
Well, I may use it sometime.
Okay.
This is the uniform of some 7,000 volunteers who will be taking part in the 4th annual Metro Paint-a-thon. Nearly 300 low-income seniors and disabled homeowners will have their houses painted by the volunteers. Now, I know all 7,000 of you are watching for the weather for tomorrow, so here it is. Some morning clouds, otherwise a warm and humid day. Temperatures climbing into the 80s. And get your painting done before late afternoon because some thunderstorms could fire up. There is a better chance by night. And some big thunderstorms were off the northeastern Florida coast this morning, and it produced a big water spout. Yep, a swirling mass of cloud moisture and water just about a couple hundred feet offshore. Winds were probably around 60 miles per hour. Fortunately, it stayed over water and just made for some pretty pictures. We had water in the air here in the Twin Cities, gave us fog and not much range in the temperature. The high was only 71, the low 66. Fog gave us a trace of rain. Right now it's cloudy, dank, 71. Wind is southeast at 5. Dew point is way up at 70. 97% the humidity. Visibility out at the airport is just over a mile, and pressure's on the rise. Big range in temperatures across the country. A record-tying 94 in Fort Lauderdale, a record cold high 67 in San Diego. The Northwest was in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, and in eastern Minnesota and western Wisconsin, only in the 70s. We have a warm front which is moving at us from the south to the north, and the warm air sliding up and over the cooler air, which has been over us the last couple of days, resulted in the fog and the low clouds. That's moving to the north, and I think tomorrow will be a better day than today. But now we have to watch this area of low pressure to the west and northwest, which is sliding some cooler air once again into the upper Midwest. That has fired off some big thunderstorms in North Dakota this evening that dropped 5 inches of rain in Minot, North Dakota. Those are sliding out of the northeast. The thunderstorms in Nebraska will probably miss us, but I think tomorrow, by tomorrow afternoon at least, we have a chance of thunderstorms in the air. Doppler 11 radar has a few scattered showers to our south and east, mainly between Eau Claire and Rochester. They're sliding to the north and probably won't bother us at all. For tomorrow, once the fog burns off by late tomorrow morning, we should get partly sunny skies, temperatures in the 80s. But here comes the cool front cutting into all of that, and I think some big thunderstorms will fire along that front. And they may rumble into the Twin Cities probably by tomorrow night, and it looks like some of those could hang around into Sunday. So if you need a dry day, well, at least a little dry gap, looks like tomorrow afternoon would be your best bet. We'll have the forecast details coming up in just a minute.
L'Italia, il primo produttore mondiale di gioielli d'oro a 14 carati. Gold Diggers ha la selezione più vasta. Gold Diggers Summer Extravaganza offre i prezzi più interessanti della stagione. I prezzi di Gold Diggers sono regolarmente scontati al 50%. Risparmiate un 15% in più durante la Summer Extravaganza. Gold Diggers inoltre offre molti articoli in esclusiva. Gold Digger Summer Extravaganza, the great design of Italy's exquisite gold jewelry, is on sale for a limited time.
It's cherry, cherry, cherry Coca-Cola. It's got a taste that's hard to beat. Cherry Coca-Cola.
Cherry Coke now has more cherry taste than ever before. Try the cherriest cherry Coke ever.
It's cherry, cherry, cherry Coca-Cola. It's got a taste that's all you need.
Try Cherry Coke and Diet Cherry Coke. You can't beat the feeling.
Prestige Lincoln Mercury Mercure is having a luxury used car sale. We have a great selection of one-owner Lincoln Town Cars and Grand Marquis ready to go now with no money down and payments that start at just $149 a month. That's right, just $149 a month. Only the best, only at Prestige, only till Monday. Our luxury leaders, 83s through 87, start at just $57.50. Imagine, you could be driving an 87 Lincoln Town Car with no money down. Prestige Lincoln Mercury Mercure, Highway 12, 1 mile west of 100.
Build your dream kitchen and save during the Red Hot Sale at Menards. Quality medallion cabinets are on sale now with solid oak doors, trouble-free drawers, and beautiful space-saving custom features. And to accent your cabinets, choose Bell with cabinet hardware. You'll find the perfect door pull styles on sale now, like this classic porcelain pull, now just $1.99. Hurry in for the Red Hot Sale at Menards.
We're helping you build America's heartland at Menards.
It's been a day that's looked and felt like late September. Temperatures at this hour are generally in the low 70s in southern Minnesota, mid-60s in the northern part of the state, cool spots 65 once again in Duluth. Forecast for tonight, cloudy skies, areas of fog and drizzle, lows of 68 to 72. For tomorrow, fog in the morning, becoming partly sunny with some late afternoon thunderstorms developing, warmer, more humid, 80 to 85. Tomorrow night, cloudy skies with scattered thunderstorms, 67 to 71. And for Sunday, mostly cloudy, showers and scattered thunderstorms, 78 to 82. The 11 outlook for Monday through Wednesday, showers on Monday, hopefully clearing up Tuesday, partly cloudy Wednesday. Temperatures near or slightly below normal. Hope they get their painting in. That's going to be kind of touch and go.
So do it quickly first thing in the morning.
Real fast. Up and at 'em.
Okay, thanks, Dennis. Pop singer Madonna got mobbed today by 200 fans in London. She was met by the mob at Heathrow Airport. Some of the fans were rather anxious because Madonna's flight was an hour and a half late. The scene was noisy as she was welcomed. Madonna is in London to perform at 4 sold-out concerts.
The 10th anniversary of Elvis Presley's death is being marked with celebrations. Crowds of people have converged on Memphis and Elvis's Graceland mansion. Lookalikes and longtime fans are observing this week by visiting the home of their favorite performer. The actual 10th anniversary is Sunday, I believe. Still ahead tonight, an important deadline for property tax refunds.
We'll be right back.
The big one's back.
GM's big one's back.
The big one from GM is back.
GM's Big One is back with 1.9% on most new 1987 GM cars. The best GMAC financing plan ever. Or a great 4.8% for 48 months. Here's an example of what that means. Or choose big cash rebates. GM's Big One is back, but not for long.
Let's go!
For over 20 years, Bradley Exterminating Company has been providing quality exterminating services for fine homes, apartments, and businesses. And now, due to popular demand, we've also developed a complete line of quality products for the do-it-yourselfer. All Bradley Exterminating products are easy to use and packed with exterminator punch to get the job done fast. When you have a pest problem, look for a Bradley display in a store near you. Bradley Exterminating Products. They work for exterminators, they'll work for you.
As a kid, do you ever imagine yourself as a grown-up? What are you going to look like?
Did you know that right now you're actually programming your grown-up self? It's true.
What you choose to eat now helps determine how strong and healthy you'll be as an adult. Imagine, right now you're in charge of yourself as a grown-up.
It's a great idea for you to learn all you can about good nutrition.
Because if you take good care of yourself now, it'll sure pay off for you later.
Thanks, kid.
An important deadline approaching for Minnesota renters and homeowners. The deadline for applying for tax refunds is Monday, August 17th. That's this Monday. To qualify, you must be a state resident for all or part of 1986. Your income must be under $40,000, or you must be 65 years of age or older or disabled. Forms are available at local city offices.
Canterbury Downs tonight is apologizing for a strange letter mailed out to residents of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. The letters were mailed this week to 30,000 households in Eau Claire as an invitation to this weekend's Eau Claire Derby. The letter mistakenly says some sites of lacrosse are in Eau Claire. Full-page ad in today's Eau Claire paper apologizes for the error. Tonight on our series, We the People, a constitutional leader who didn't say much when our government was being formed 200 years ago. We get the story from Ken Speak in Philadelphia.
Jared Ingersoll, one of the most distinguished lawyers in Philadelphia, a city which boasted the finest legal talent in the country 200 years ago. Yet, as a delegate to the Constitutional Convention, Jared Ingersoll barely said a word.
Ingersoll spent 15 years here at the Pennsylvania State House, which served as home of the State Supreme Court. He was Attorney General of Pennsylvania and then was United States Attorney for Pennsylvania.
He was born in New Haven, Connecticut, and attended Yale College, where he graduated at the young age of 17. He had a fine legal mind, so much so that his parents sent him to England to study law just prior to the Revolutionary War. When he represented Pennsylvania at the Constitutional Convention, he offered advice to other delegates on some of the tough legal problems associated with writing such a revolutionary document. But otherwise, during the whole 4 months the Constitution was discussed, Jared Ingersoll remained silent. An extraordinary feat for a man who is described as the ablest jury lawyer in Philadelphia. Some of his friends said Ingersoll was quiet because he was modest. Nobody really knows why one of the finest legal minds in the country had so little to say when he and the delegates to the Constitutional Convention were writing the document that still is the cornerstone of our country today. Yet, Jared Ingersoll signed the Constitution, leaving a puzzling little 200-year-old mystery that we, the people, will never solve. Ken Speak, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Interesting. Still to come. Bad boy Brian Bosworth has the last laugh in making NFL history.
And the Twins open a series against Seattle at the Dome. Tom Ryder and all those sports up next.
Perkins introduces 5 new basket dinners. Baskets. Tummy heaven.
Hiya, it's me. America's oldest romantic baritone working with America's oldest car company. Burns & Olds. Like a top billing. Older. Oldsmobile just reached 90. They're nice kids. I'm here to tell you about Oldsmobile's 90th anniversary celebration.
And now you can celebrate with 1.9 APR GMAC financing or up to $1,000 cash back from Oldsmobile.
We're ready to do the commercial.
I just did it.
Don't miss the dynamite savings during the 10th anniversary celebration at all wax museums and Great American Music. Listen. Get anniversary sale savings on Alphabet City. New from ABC on Mercury LP, cassette, and compact disc. The 10th anniversary sale on now at
The Wax Museums and Great American Music.
This sale's a blast.
Twins pitcher Joe Niekro, suspended by the league, will be interviewed by David Letterman tonight. Niekro has been the center of national attention since he was thrown out of a game after an emery board and sandpaper was discovered in his pocket. He was apparently scuffing up balls, and now that he's been suspended, he's finding time for a network interview on NBC.
Gonna have to stay up for that.
It'll be fun to see that.
You know they're going to show that again. That's a classic.
One more time at least.
It really is. It's a, what can you say? You know, how'd that get there?
Yeah, Letterman's going to pin him down.
Oh, it's going to be fun tonight. Talk about fun. The Twins back on track. They won at the Dome tonight, beating Seattle in Game 1 of a 4-game series. The final 6-3. Bly 11, another big win. Let's go to some key plays. Ken Herbeck provided the muscle tonight. He hits a 463-foot home run off Mike Morgan, and the Twins led by a score of 4-2. Gary Gaddy had 3 RBIs tonight, 2 of them on this 8th-inning double. Kirby Puckett and Herbeck scored. Now watch this play at third. For the life of me, I'm trying to figure out how in the world is he out, unless if he lifted his foot from the bag after he made it there. Do we have it? Did his foot just lifted there, and then they, oh boy. Well, at any rate, the Twins won it. That's the big story. Let's go to the scoreboard and check them out. Now, California leading Oakland. We've got to watch those Angels. It's in the third. California 3 games back now. The Twins, Kansas City over Detroit in the 8th inning. Boston over Texas. Steve Howe, the losing pitcher in that game. And Toronto beat the White Sox by a score of 3-2. And former St. Paul native Paul Molitor literally hit a milestone tonight. The Milwaukee Brewer extended his hitting streak to 29 games at Baltimore. That's right, he did it tonight. Here it is. A single top of the 7th inning put Molitor in 3rd place on the longest hitting streak in this decade. He now trails Kansas City's George Brett, who hit in 30 straight games in 1980. Way to go, Paul. Let's go to the scoreboard again now. Milwaukee won that game. Cleveland beat the reeling Yankees. They're now 4 games behind Toronto. In the National League, the Cubs beat the Mets again. Montreal over Pittsburgh. Cincinnati over San Diego. St. Louis leading Philadelphia. The Cardinals 5 games up on the Mets now. Houston over Atlanta in the 8th inning, and Los Angeles over San Francisco in the early going. The Minnesota Vikings are in New Orleans for tomorrow night's preseason opener against the Saints at the Superdome. New Orleans is a 3-point favorite. But Vikings coach Jerry Burns says the numbers are really not that important right now. It is a learning experience.
But foremost is the fact that we want to look at some people that we want to see how they react under the game conditions. And so some of our top people will only play a very short time, and we'll look at some of the other people.
This next story, unbelievable. Even though former All-American linebacker out of Oklahoma, Brian Bosworth, hasn't taken the field yet for anybody. He's already in the NFL record books. He signed a contract today with the Seattle Seahawks, the largest rookie contract in league history with Seattle. 10 years, $11 million. Can you imagine what that'll do to their salary structure? All right, Canterbury Downs, big money for the winner of tonight's first race at Canterbury Downs. Number 6 at Monterey finished first by 4 lengths, paid $18.80 on a $2 bet. There you have it at Canterbury. At 1 o'clock tomorrow, our News 11 softball team will go against WCCO at Rice Arlington Park in St. Paul, and I've been working all week. I'm pitching tomorrow.
Yeah, you got your
got this from Nipro.
emery board. Okay.
That's right, I'm ready.
You are pitching?
Well, there's a rumor that effect.
We can't lose that. Still ahead tonight, the story of a man who finds sports heaven in his attic.
We'll meet a man who's keeping a big league baseball collection for the fun of it. Next on The Extra.
Now this is my kind of ice cream. Real smooth, you know? You'll never catch me eating any of that frozen yogurt.
Surprise, it's Yoplait. New Yoplait soft frozen yogurt.
Not ice cream. Ice cream. Say ice cream. Ice cream. You got it right.
Surprise, it's Yoplait. New Yoplait soft frozen yogurt.
Hi, I'm Judy, head operator at The Connection. So many of you have called The Connection. We've had over 4 million information requests that I'm not going to tell you how it works, but I will remind you that it is a free call. Whether you call The Connection all the time or this is your first time, call this week. Ask for anything you need. If you're stumped for an idea, we suggest that you ask for furniture stores, because this week, one caller looking for new furniture will win a $200 gift certificate good towards their purchase of new furniture. It could be you.
You get a super deal now at the Super Bowl savings from your Hall of Fame dealer.
See your Hall of Fame dealer, Art Goebel Ford, Coon Rapids, and get winning deals. 1.9% APR 24-month financing on Taurus, Thunderbird, Tempo, Escort, and Festiva. Plus 6-year, 60,000-mile warranties on all Ford cars and light-duty trucks. Now through September. See your less hassle dealer, Art Goebel Ford, Coon Rapids.
Tonight on News 11 Extra, a diehard baseball fan who eats, drinks, and lives with all kinds of Twins memorabilia. News 11's Steve Carroll reports on a St. Paul man who's put together a big league display.
Clyde Deppner is walking into heaven, the tiny attic in his St. Paul home.
We're gonna win, Twins, we're gonna score. We're gonna win, Twins, watch that baseball score.
This would be the lineup cards from the last game the Twins won in a World Series.
Clyde is a Major League Baseball fan, a Twins fan to be more precise, and he has a big league collection to prove it.
This is Tony Oliva's World Series uniform and his All-Star Game uniform from 1965.
Throughout the past 15 years or so, Clyde has collected, bought, or traded for the more than 5,000 items he has in his huge collection.
Unless you collect, you just don't appreciate how long it takes to stumble upon some of these.
All the baseball memorabilia is worth thousands of dollars, but Clyde is not in it for the money, just for the fun of it.
What is the old saying, the only difference between men and boys is the price of their toys? Well, maybe that sums up what we have up here, I don't know.
Clyde has items from every Twins team from every year, and something from every ball player who has ever worn a Minnesota uniform. And of course, Clyde's collection includes several items from the old Met Stadium, including a home plate, a pitcher's rubber from the bullpen, and AstroTurf. Yes, they even had AstroTurf at the old Met Stadium in the coaches' boxes. The memories in this room are endless, and so are the hours Clyde spends here.
The boy in you never really dies.
Steve Carroll, News 11 Sports.
Hard to believe.
It is fun, though, watching those things.
Let's get a weather update.
Hard to believe the weather we have outside right now. It's foggy right now, and we expect some sunshine tomorrow afternoon into the 80s. Tom?
I'm sorry, I'm just getting ready for the softball game tomorrow. Baseball tomorrow, Twins in Seattle, and drag racing in Brainerd tomorrow.
Emery Board Ride. Thanks for being with us.
And we say, I guess not so long, but we'll see you next time. John is not going to be with us anymore. John is going to WHO TV in Des Moines.
Yes, going to do
beginning
the 6
on
and 10
Monday.
news there.
And so we wish you all the best for News 11.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all of you. Really appreciate it. It's a delight working with you all.
We wish you the best.
Thanks. And have a great weekend, folks.
We'll see you on Monday. Good night.
Saturday nights are
Out of sight.
when everyday people live out their